Leaked plans reveal a strategy to hold up to 80,000 people in converted warehouses. The process is twofold. Immigrants are sent to temporary processing sites for several weeks before being transferred to one of the seven massive semi permanent warehouse prison camps. But there's a major problem with the infrastructure. These facilities are designed for shipping and storage, not for human beings. Experts warn the lack of basic ventilation, climate control, and sanitation systems needed to sustain thousands of residents. For many, this echoes one of the darkest chapters in American history. The strategy of moving people from temporary stalls to permanent camps under military guard is being compared directly to the Japanese American incarceration of 1942. However, unlike the 1940s, these plans are facing fierce resistance. Communities across the country are standing up. I'm going to play a news clip for you.
Send immigrants to what they're describing as temporary processing sites for weeks at a time. And then from there, they're planning to send immigrants to one of seven new large-scale warehouses, essentially semi-permanent warehouse prison camps, each holding up to 10,000 people. The Washington Post stating the painfully obvious here, quote, "Such structures are designed for storage and shipping, not human habitation. They tend to be poorly ventilated and lack precise temperature controls, and because they are typically located far from residential areas, they may not have access to the plumbing and sanitation systems needed to support thousands of full-time residents." Yes, literally warehousing people, among other things, is hard. In the aftermath of Pearl Harbor, after Japan's attack on the United States in December 1941, in early 1942, the United States government rounded up tens of thousands of Japanese immigrants and Japanese American U.S. citizens. And that system, the Japanese American incarceration policy, it's sometimes called an internment policy, but it was really an incarceration policy. The way they structured that, the way they did it, is uncannily like the plan that is now being reported in the Washington Post about the Trump administration. In 1942, Japanese Americans were first put into temporary processing centers, where in many cases they were forced to live in horse stalls. Government rounded them up, sent them to live in racetracks, in old horse stalls for weeks or months, and then they were sent from those temporary centers on to more permanent prison camps, which held thousands of people, and they were held there under military guard for years. Temporary processing centers, then mass prison camps. That was the Japanese incarceration policy in 1942. Temporary processing centers, then mass prison camps. That is reportedly the new plan for immigrants under the Trump administration today. When the U.S. did that in 1942, one of the tragedies of that time, looking back at that history, is that there really was no major public outcry. There was no opposition movement that pushed back against that moral catastrophe being carried out by the U.S. government. Well, now, here on this show, in recent weeks, we've been following the efforts of one small coastal community in Oregon, a community that's been trying to block an ICE prison from being built in their town. People in Newport, Oregon have been piling into public meetings, protesting outside City Hall. Newport, Oregon is now suing the Trump administration to try to block them from putting an ICE prison in their remote town. Also, how about the people of Roxbury, New Jersey, clear across the country? Their town popped up on the list obtained by the Washington Post of places the Trump administration wants to put one of these temporary processing sites. Right after that report, look at this. This was a town council meeting in Roxbury, New Jersey, the day before New Year's Eve. Constituents lining up to tell their representatives they do not want a new ICE prison in their town. They will not stand for it. People in Roxbury then protested in below freezing temperatures this weekend out on the side of the highway. One of the reasons the government was able to get away with what it did to Japanese Americans in World War II is because they did a good job of hiding it. They built these prison camps in remote, faraway places. And the few people who did know what was happening mostly did not speak up about it. This time, at least, they may be trying to do it in a lot of the same ways, but this time, at least, they're not getting it without a fight.
So what do you guys think? Put it down in the comments below. And if you made it this far and liked what you've seen, please like and subscribe. Have a good night. Thank you for being viewers.